Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Sports Talk with Rags here in Season 4, Episode 31. And today, here we are joined by Lake Taylor alum and Norfolk State alum, and currently a coach here in the state of Texas, Jeff Sanford, with us today. Jeff, how you doing this evening?
Good, Mark. How's it going?
Hey, it's going great, and so let's start at the beginning. Hey, when you were growing up here in Norfolk, did you play all sports or just stick to baseball?
Yeah, I was a football, baseball guy. Um, I pretty much took a break in between those two sports. Um, Parents didn't want me to play year round, so they said you can play one in the fall, one in the spring. So,
Yeah.
but
Well, I know I my brother and I and sister, we moved here in '87. My brother pitched at Western Branch. I mean, so definitely here Tidewater always been a hotbed here for both football and baseball.
oh yeah, absolutely. Even after my playing days, even during my playing days, there's a ton of talent there. Um, and it holds true today.
Right.
But when I started my coaching career, I coached, against some of the, best players that the area's seen in quite some time.
Right. Yeah, and when being part of Lake Taylor, what football games were there at Met Park, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yep. Old Met.
Yeah. Yeah, and then let's see, when it wasn't school season, I mean they're in the summer for baseball. Where did you play at growing up?
Played Legion ball in high school.
Okay.
Before that, when I was a little younger, I played Little Creek National at
Right. Yeah.
Carrollton Park. Little Creek National actually started on the amphib base. And
Okay.
um, remember we had to go through security checks every weekend to get on the base to go to the game. And then, gosh, I must have been in Bronco, and
Right.
my dad, along with I don't know 6, 7, 8 other dads, decided to build Tarleton Recreational Park, and they had four baseball fields and a big old concession stand on it.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And, I definitely when my nephews played over here at Western Branch and Coach Pitch and Mustang age, definitely remember here Little Creek still holding all-star tournaments.
Oh yeah, yeah, we yeah, it was in the rivalry. As long as I remember, it was Little Creek National against Little Creek America.
Right.
The Little Creek American kids, they were all the Virginia Beach kids, and Little Creek National was all the Norfolk kids, and we had some battles.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and and then also there with Lake Taylor, and playing against Granby and Maury, they're in the Eastern District.
Yeah, yeah. It was crazy. Kid I grew up with. He played for Naval Air Station. He was a couple years older than me. So by the time I got to high school, he was at Granby,
Okay.
and so we had some battles for 2 years. And then his one of his teammates, even though I went to Lake Taylor, lived in the Lake Taylor district. He lived 2 houses down from me, and went to Granby. Uh, who we also played college ball together, and
Oh.
so yeah, we, we were teammates after we didn't like each other too much.
Yeah, and what let's see, as you got into high school, I mean, were you looking to maybe go somewhere to play both, or were you looking to go somewhere to just concentrate on one sport there in college?
Yeah, I mean, I loved playing football, but I knew if
Right.
I was going to go to college anywhere, it was going to be with this left arm.
Okay.
Um, when I think it was after my junior year in high school, the summer going into my senior year, I played
Right.
with Indian River, like Palomino.
Yeah.
So it's all high school kids,
Right.
and there's two or three Bayside kids on there that I, you know, became real close with,
Right.
and they two of them went to Chowan,
Okay.
and I wanted to go with them.
Right.
Coach Moore down there in Chowan, he didn't give full rides, and my parents were like, I don't know. So, um, yeah, I didn't get my first wish of going down to Chowan because it was you know, shoot, it was an hour and 15 drive. It was easy,
Murfreesboro.
and I mean it's good ball down there.
Right. Yeah, and a past guest here on the podcast was Marty Miller, and listening to Coach Miller's career, where he didn't even want to coach baseball; he just wanted to play baseball, and it's so just the great career that he had at Norfolk State, not only playing but also coaching. So just talk about being part of Norfolk State baseball.
So I you know once I didn't get to go to Chowan, my dad was like pretty much saying, well, you better figure out what you want to do because you're not going to lay around the house.
Right.
He's a little passive aggressive there, but so I went to the Marine Corps.
Oh,
Um, got through my basic training and all the other training I had to do, and then came back home and I said, you know what? I said I played against Marty Miller's son.
yeah.
He went to Booker T,
Right. Right.
and the John Anderson, he went to Booker T as well, and he was also in Norfolk State. So I said, I'm just going to go in and recruit myself,
Right.
Coach Miller. And so I called him up, told him who I was. He brought me in, and he's like, I introduced myself. He's like, no, I know who you are.
Right.
And so 24 hours later, I was a Spartan.
Wow. And the thing is, you talk about, taking upon yourself and, you know, going going down there and, calling, setting up a meeting. I mean, we're definitely showing our ages here where, there was no social media, there was no video highlights, I mean, back then it was to get seen, you had to go to camps, or you had to take it upon yourself. And here with this situation, you knew his son, you knew a couple other players, so with being from Norfolk, so hey, I'll just take it upon myself and go on down there.
Yeah, I knew that's what I wanted to do. I mean, I chose Marine Corps Reserves for a reason,
Yeah.
because I knew I wanted to go to college, and I knew I wanted to play baseball in college, and I knew I was good enough to play baseball in college.
Right.
And so yeah, I mean, like I said, I knew three guys that were already on the team, and then so I went down there and I you know told him what I needed, told him what I wanted.
Right.
He agreed, and yeah, like I said, 24 hours later, I was a Spartan and moving into the dorm.
Yeah. And when you talk about left arm, did you pitch and play first base?
Yes, spot start, middle relief guy, who also played some first base.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And I mean, in Norfolk State, just, you know, great baseball program, and Coach Miller, definitely, definitely a legend here with his career leading Spartan baseball.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he just, he had a knack for finding the talent. I mean,
Right.
we in the 4 years that I played, God, there was more than a handful of guys that got drafted, and Anton Brooks, he was a lefty from South Carolina, a lefty pitcher,
Mm.
92, 94, with a wicked changeup and curveball. Hell, he played for the AAA Richmond Braves,
Oh wow.
so he made it all the way to AAA.
Yeah.
There's plenty of those kind of stories coming from Norfolk State. I mean, we were good. I mean, we struggled against the teams, the D1 schools, but we competed our butts off. That spring break trip every season, hitting, one or two ACC schools, or heck, even one year we played an SEC school.
Wow.
And so we started, that entire spring break week, we were playing baseball every day.
Wow. Yeah, and with my brother, Mike Ragsdale, he was at William and Mary there from '92 to '95. But in the fall, they would play Christopher Newport. They would play Mary Washington. So like they're in the '90s here in in-state. There in the fall, you'd play just other in-state baseball programs.
Yeah, I remember Mike Dunlow slid into home plate. We went up to William and Mary,
Yeah.
slid into home plate and bang bang play, and broke his leg.
Oh wow.
I'll never forget that. That was, whew.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, um, I think we got rained out against ODU.
Yeah.
We played William and Mary every year. We played those in-state schools as well.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. And when we talked before we came on a couple of weeks ago, I mean, didn't you also say that Manny helped out with the team?
yeah, yeah. I believe I want to say it was my sophomore year,
Okay.
and Manny Upton, he was the pitching coach.
Um,
Um, and on like those spring break trips that I was talking about,
yeah.
he'd bring his two sons, and I guess everybody knows who those guys are,
Right.
BJ and Justin Upton. They're little rugrats, running around up and down the aisle of the bus, hitting everybody, waking everybody up when we're trying to sleep, you know, a 10, 12-hour road trip to Lord knows where. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it was a good time. And then when I started my coaching career, I coached against those kids, and it was just, full circle, and then watching them in the bigs, um, yeah, it was a good time.
Right. Yeah. So after college, did you get into coaching around here before you moved to Texas?
Yeah, I did 8 seasons,
Okay.
Norfolk Collegiate, and that's where I ran into the BJ Uptons and the Justin Uptons and the Kadires and all those kids, and all those guys. Uh, that Greenbrier Christian with Coach.
LaBelle.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that and hell, even Townie Townsend.
Right.
He took over Lake Taylor the year after I graduated. I felt cheated.
Oh. So and then also there with playing football there at Met Park. I mean, so with being a fan of baseball, I mean, you had to grow up being a Mets fan, or definitely they're Tides fans, since they were playing at Met Park then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, the Mets would come down every year and play in a exhibition game, and you just see all the studs, and just
Right.
seeing the Daryl Strawberries, the Kevin Mitchells, obviously Doc Gooden, Howard Johnson, uh, Knight, all of them, Gary Carter. I mean,
Right.
it was insane watching those games.
Yeah.
And playing actually getting able to play football on that field was pretty cool because you just like you go into that locker room, you're like, some of the guys that have been in this.
Right. Yeah, yeah, and and coaching baseball there at Norfolk Collegiate. I mean, even today, baseball here, the TCIS, and you know, private school, public school. I mean, right now I saw that Granby lost in a grand slam walk off there to Menchville, but Maury is playing Bethel here in the regional semifinal. So, just one consistent thing here is private school or public school here in our area. Definitely baseball well supported.
Yeah, it's I do my best to keep up, especially although during baseball season it can be tough because it's a 6.5 day job, um, you know 15, 18 hour days, on most days. So, but I do my best to keep up. And I mean, I have no doubt the level of competition that's there because it's always been there.
Right.
You know, and just some of the guys that were there when I started my coaching career. Just those are the who's who of the Hampton Roads area. You know,
Right. Yeah. And how long have you been coaching here in Texas?
let's see. I started in 2006
Okay.
coaching
Yeah.
here in Texas.
Yeah, cause what you're an assistant there for football and then head coach there for baseball.
Yes, I coach secondary.
Okay.
I coach the cornerbacks for football. I've done that for God 15, 18 years, something like that.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, and when where you live, I mean, and with the weather there in Texas, definitely start baseball early, right?
Oh yeah, the third Friday in January, we is the first day of practice. A week later, we're allowed to play scrimmages.
Okay.
Um, and we get 5 scrimmages,
Oh,
and then we jump right into our non-district schedule, and
right.
a non-district and tournament schedule.
Okay.
Um, we play in 3 tournaments, uh,
Mm,
with a district game in between those tournaments.
mm,
So three tournaments, 3 district games.
right.
Um, you play up to 6 games. You don't have to play 6, but most teams do play at least 6 games in those tournaments. So
Right.
you know by the first week in March, we're already almost 30 games into the season.
Right.
So
Y- yeah.
it starts early and it goes.
Right. Yeah. Now is it similar to over here where at the end of the regular season it's districts and then regionals and then states? Is that how it's worked over there? Or a little bit different.
You want to be a state champion in the state of Texas. You got to go through 6 rounds,
Wow. Jeez.
6 rounds, and then after the second round,
Yeah.
it has to be a 3-game series.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Um, so we're talking you go by district, area, regional quarters, regional semis, regional finals, state semis, state finals.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, so 4 or 5 of those rounds has to be no, three, I'm sorry, 3 or 4 of those rounds have to be a 3-game series. So
Wow. So you definitely need to have some depth there on the mound.
oh, absolutely. I mean, you don't have 4 solid starters, you're probably not going to go very far if you're lucky enough to make the playoffs at all.
Right.
So, we have luckily for us, we have some young ones coming up that hopefully will do well for us, and we have a bunch of guys that can throw it. Not exactly always sure where it's going, but just to help us get through those tournament games. Because to play 5-6 tournament games in a 3-day span and then turn around 3 days later and play a district game, that can be taxing on the arms. So yeah, we definitely do a lot in the off season to prepare for that, and we definitely go to the ends of the earth to try to make sure we keep them healthy once we get rolling.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, definitely football, is very time consuming, but with being the head coach of a varsity baseball program, I mean, you talk about 6.5 days. I mean, with off season practice and then your workouts and working on the field, not even counting when games start. I mean, yeah, it's definitely a big commitment.
Oh, no doubt. Football's a 7 day a week job. It's 6 days for the kids, but it's 7 days for us because we're in there. Saturday and Sunday breaking down film, grading film, and then prepping for the following week's game.
Right.
Yeah, and it goes. We our last day of school is tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
We start up summer strength and conditioning Monday.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that quick turnaround. And so we do that. We do that 4 days a week for 6 weeks.
Mm. And then with that being 6 weeks after that's done, then you're pretty much at the time for official official practice for the 24 season.
Yeah, I mean we get the week of July 4th off. Everything
Shuts.
down for that week, and we get 1 week after we finish summer strength and conditioning. And but other than that, right back to it, right back
Yeah.
to and we have turf fields down here in Texas, and they on a 100-degree day, you're talking 125, 130 degrees on that turf.
Right.
So it's a monster, and yeah, it's just something that I don't know if you can ever get used to that kind of heat, but you do the best you can, and you just stay hydrated. Drape a wet towel around your neck and just go.
Yeah, and has the turf fields gone over to baseball as well?
We just played our first year on a new turf field.
Oh, nice.
Luckily I was allowed to design the whole thing, which is
Oh,
even cooler. You know,
right,
I never had that opportunity before, and so the higher ups listened to baseball people,
right,
design a baseball field, which I thought was pretty smart of them. You know,
right. Yeah, and then for baseball, how many assistants are there to help you out?
I got 3 assistants.
Okay.
Um, so because I have JV and I have 2 freshman teams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's a bunch. It's a big number. So we have a few more coaches. I mean,
Right.
but I have one of the smaller staffs. There are some schools we're talking 6, 7 coaches for a baseball program. Um, but those guys they have a varsity, 2 JVs, and 2 maybe 3 freshman teams. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So I guess with having the freshman team is based on the size of the school on how many you can field.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So it goes 1A through 6A.
Oh, okay.
6A are the big dogs.
Right.
We're 5A.
Okay.
Every 2 years we go through a realignment, and
Right.
they check our numbers, and based on those numbers that the school has, will determine where if you play in 5A or 6A.
Right.
Well, in and around the school for this is year 8 for the school being open,
Okay.
and they built this school, beautiful school, right in the middle of farmland.
Oh,
And so that farmland is just steadily going away, and I guess you can imagine what's being built in its place: a bunch of
oh,
homes, a bunch of apartments, townhomes, so on and so forth. So they're thinking, and we just had a new realignment, which luckily we stayed at 5A because we're not ready to go to 6A yet. But in 2 years, when we have that next realignment, I'm pretty sure we're going to be bumped up with the big boys.
oh. Right. Well, Jeff, appreciate your time here with growing up here and, going to Norfolk State and then, not only coaching around here, but coaching, coaching there with Texas high school. And I know with you going to high school here with Elizabeth, appreciate you coming on and sharing your story.
Absolutely, I appreciate you having me.
Sure, no problem. Yeah, well, hey, fans. So this is Jeff Sanford here with growing up here in Norfolk area and playing at Lake Taylor, then playing for Coach Miller there at Norfolk State, and then you know got into coaching and has been coaching out in the state of Texas here with being a football assistant. Head baseball coach here at Southwest Legacy High School. So thanks again for your time, Jeff, and talk to you later.
Sounds good, Mark. Take care of
Yeah.
yourself.
All right. See you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.